but I did write this between my first film and my second film. That was an 8-year gap. So I was really at a certain point just spinning my wheels and not getting anywhere. And so there's a lot of self-mockery as an insecure writer, wondering, what he's doing and why. That part certainly came from my feelings during that somewhat dark period.
Hello and welcome to a very special edition of the Movie Podcast. My name is Daniel, and I am joined right beside me.
What?
By
Hello.
by Shahbaz. Hello, Shahbaz.
Hey, Daniel. How you doing? I didn't even know you were here.
Well, you know what, Jay? Some people say that we are clones of one another,
Mm-hmm.
and I think this is the best episode to reveal that
Mm-hmm.
we are actually attached at the hip. That's why
we're Siamese twins.
We are connected together, and that's why you are seeing us on the same screen at the same time in the same room.
We got a very controversial surgery done. Most people want to get separated.
Mhm.
We were like, no, put us closer together.
How much would it take to put us together?
They're like, we'll do it for free.
And we said, sold.
Sounds good.
We'll take care of it. Shay, today's a very special edition of the Movie Podcast. I want to ask you to tell our audience why.
Well, if you haven't already read any of the titles or even seen a thumbnail for some reason, and you just kind of went click, which is what we expect most of our audience to do, then you'll know that we're speaking with Brandon Cronenberg today, director of Infinity Pool, which just came out and had its debut at Sundance as well. We talked about that film. We had a great review for the movie. We had a great time with the movie. You know, there's some things that obviously really shock people about this film, and talking to Brandon, kind of getting the inside of his mind on it, was very, very interesting.
Yeah, I think it was a fun time. Obviously, we'll debrief very after our actual interview. But to talk to the director behind a movie like this. And if you've seen Infinity Pool, it is, there's some ideas in this, there's some things that happen in this movie. And it was just really cool getting to talk to Brendan. We've been fans of him for a little while. And obviously, we're big fans of, David Cronenberg, his father. So to be able to talk to him and just kind of get an insight to who he is and his filmmaking technique was really, really cool. So stay tuned for that very, very soon. But as always, you can catch a brand new episode of the Movie Podcast every single Monday. And watch out throughout the week for our reviews and interviews and all the latest movies and series. We have some incredible interviews out right now. Knock at the Cabin, Baton. And we have some interviews. And, we're doing a weekly series for The Last of Us on HBO. So every Sunday night, 10 p.m., check out your podcast feed. Check out YouTube. We'll have our review and our reaction to the latest episode. So make sure you tune in for that. And, of course, if you're watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Leave a comment below. Let us know if you've checked out Infinity Pool yet. Let us know your favorite Mia Goth movie, because she's been in a lot of bangers in the last couple of years. So definitely do that. And of course, join our Discord. Let's keep the conversation going. Even when the episodes end, the conversation doesn't have to stop there. So please make sure you join us on Discord as well. Shay, we also have a little bit of a promotion going on with Manscaped.
We do. Well, you'll notice that we're very Manscaped right now. I mean, I got to shave a little bit more, I think. It's been a couple days. Good. But we're looking smooth and clean. And I think the reason why that is because we have been blessed with some Manscaped products, and we would love to extend that offer to our audience. Valentine's Day is coming up.
It is. You want to look good.
You want to get groomed. You want your partner to look groomed. This is how you do it. You get them shaved. Why don't you spend Valentine's Day just shaving each other? I think that is probably romantic.
That's very romantic. I would say definitely do that. Use promo code MoviePod to get 20% off and free shipping your next order of Manscaped. Check out our show notes below for all of those links and more. Like we said, Infinity Pool is out now, so you can watch it in theaters. I want to say thank you to our friends at Elevation Pictures for inviting us to watch the film and for making this interview with Brendan possible. So huge shout out to them. We love working with them. And without further ado, please welcome Brandon Cronenberg to the Movie Podcast. We're so grateful for you sharing your time with us today on the Movie Podcast. So first and foremost, thank you for that. And congratulations on the Sundance debut for Infinity Pool and for surviving that storm last week when you were coming back here to Toronto too. So thank you for being you, and thank you for your time today.
Oh, that's very kind of you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, of course. We're so excited to talk about the film, which has stayed with us since watching. And, you mentioned that Infinity Pool is inspired by some bad vacations that you've taken. Clearly, we should never go on vacation with you.
And where do we need to avoid, first of all?
There's no escaping it, because you bring yourself.
There you go. There you go. That's very true. But I would love to know for you, like, where did the genesis of Infinity Pool really start for you? Where did that idea really begin?
So it started actually as a short story, essentially. I was writing a story that took place just in the context of the first execution scene. It wasn't really about vacations at that time. It was someone in a fictional country watching himself or a double of himself being executed. And that experience of identity displacement and some questions of punishment and how we feel about punishment. That was the whole thing. I eventually started expanding it into a feature, and actually it was a short comic in a comics anthology at one point. And when I did that, I started drawing from memories I had of vacation. I've only been to a traditional all-inclusive resort once about 20 years ago, but it was in the Dominican Republic, and it was a very unsettling experience because I don't know if you've done that sort of thing, but they would bus you in the middle of the night, so you wouldn't see any of the surrounding country. It was completely dark, and they just drop you into this resort compound, which was very much like the resort in the film. It was a compound entirely enclosed by razor wire fence. You couldn't actually leave. The razor wire was kind of loosely disguised by dried palm leaves.
Oh
It was
gosh.
a fake town that you could go to shop in, and a horrible disco, and the Chinese restaurant scene is straight out of the actual resort. The ATV scene on the beach, that actually happened. And so it was this weirdly, in my mind, menacing environment. Afterwards, they would bus you to the airport during the day, and you could see that the surrounding area was very poverty stricken, and so that contrast was, of course, completely horrible.
Yeah.
But also surreal, because you realized that you had never entered the actual country. You had just entered maybe embassy grounds for some kind of international tourist state, or some kind of pocket of an alternate dimension that was reflecting the host country as a kind of tacky Disneyland mirror. But that seemed like a good environment to tell this sort of story.
Yeah, definitely was.
Alex's character James struggles with writer's block and finding inspiration for his next story. Does this struggle come from a specific moment in your life?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, James isn't a stand-in for me, but I did write this between my first film and my second film. That was an 8-year gap. So I was really at a certain point just spinning my wheels and not getting anywhere. And so there's a lot of self-mockery as an insecure writer, wondering what he's doing and why. That part certainly came from my feelings during that somewhat dark period.
Support for the movie podcast is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below the waist grooming. Their products are precision engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped's Performance Package, the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Join over 7 million men worldwide who have trusted Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code MoviePod at manscaped.com. If my math is correct, that's about 14 million balls.
You know what I didn't know I needed, but I needed is an LED light on my shaver.
Oh my God.
Like, oh my gosh.
Yes.
There is darkness, especially around that area. It works so well. You can really pinpoint all the hairs, and you're like, okay, I got this point. Because hair kind of like starts to mesh and you really don't see it properly. But with this LED light, it's super bright and you can get everything precision cut.
It's a 4000K LED spotlight, so you are literally putting a spotlight to your genitals down there to make sure you're treating them as you should.
The skin safe proprietary technology that they use for the lawnmower is really good. Like I was always a little hesitant going down there, and then I felt safe. I felt like there was protection there.
Manscaped just makes it so easy to choose a tool, whatever you're using, be it the beard trimmer, the lawnmower, the weed whacker, and it just feels like there is like this accessibility to it that I absolutely love.
Get 20% off and free shipping with the code MoviePod at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use code MoviePod. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job at Manscaped.
Your balls will thank you.
Your balls will thank you.
Your balls will thank you. For sure. No, that totally makes sense. And, Alexander Skarsgård and Mia Goth are so fantastic together in Infinity Pool. How much did they shape their characters, or was this something that you already had in mind with them when you were writing the film?
They shaped the characters quite a bit, not in the sense of changing the dialogue. It wasn't so much improvised. The dialogue in the film is pretty much as written, but the approach to the characters was very much shaped by them. I mean, my casting method is kind of simple to the point of maybe being stupid. There are just some actors who I absolutely cannot get enough of. I think we all know those actors just in a visceral way. They're incredibly exciting. They burn through the screen. Everything you see them in is incredible. They never make a boring choice. And to me, you just take one of those actors, if you can, plug them into your character, and then give them some space to inject life into the character and explore the character and to wake the character up. Because from my perspective, when by the time we're shooting, I'm a little bit bored of my characters. They've kind of gone to sleep on me because I've been developing the film for so long, and so I find myself usually in a bit of a creative rut with those characters entering into shooting. So I really want an actor who's just going to bring them back to life for me, wake them up, and make them their own, and which Alex and Mia both did in I would argue spectacular fashion.
Oh yeah, they definitely did. And I think what's so great about their performance is that it really gets to shine through, because the concept of having clones come and then killing them, like that's already a lot to kind of process on its own. And I like that you didn't like kind of dwell in like the science of how it gets created. It's like, no, this is just something that you've established. This is what happens. This is what's possible. And then you could deal with the themes that come of that. And I think Alex and Mia both get to shine so much because of that, because it's just so focused on their character moments throughout the film.
It's also great that you got to use Mia's original voice. We were so used to last year hearing her doing her Pearl voice, that hearing her original accent again was so nice.
yeah, she was. Yeah, it was fun to embrace everyone's original accents. And Cleo Coleman used her Australian accent, and it was. I mean, these are people who can do great accents, but it was just fun to embrace the international nature of the cast.
Definitely. For myself, Brendan, like your dad has made some of my favorite films of all time. And I'm curious, for you, what's the best filmmaking advice that he's ever given you in your career?
I wish I had a good answer for this. Every once in a while, someone asks me that, and I wish I had a great zinger for you that would be, that would be worthwhile. I honestly, I can't remember. It's not that we've never talked about it, but it's not. We don't talk about it that often.
We don't talk about movies at all in our house.
I make movies. Oh,
that's funny though. No, that's totally acceptable though. I mean, I think you both have your own path as well too, so that totally makes sense.
Yeah, I think honestly the most helpful thing was that I sort of grew up around film sets a little bit, and so I think it was less a piece of advice and more just having some familiarity with what filmmaking is, and then
definitely
what that looks like. I think having that kind of perspective was probably helpful.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm. Now, Brandon, for our audience that loves Infinity Pool, what films do you kind of recommend for them to check out next?
Oh God, these are all the questions that I'm absolutely worst at in a row. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good.
Yeah, my mind goes blank as soon as anyone asks me that.
That's fair. No, that's fair. I mean, there's a lot of movies. I mean, at least they can check out your filmography if they haven't already. If Infinity Pool, is that first introduction to you, I think going back and watching all your previous films is a great place as well to be.
Yeah, but I can't say just then watch all my movies. That can't be my answer. That's very that's nice of you to offer it as your answer.
Oh man, That's so funny. Brandon, I just want to say thank you so much for your time today. We had such a lovely time talking with you. Like we said, this film has stayed with us so much since watching it. We cannot wait to see what you get to work on next, and I really hope that we get to talk to you again.
Oh, thanks so much. Yeah, really appreciate it. Nice to meet you guys.
And welcome back, Shahbaz. We just had the director of Infinity Pool, Brandon Cronenberg, on the show to talk all about the film. Biggest takeaway that from what we've spoken to him with.
I think the craziest parts were definitely kind of understanding how the movie is based on just some really, I guess, bad vacations, and places to avoid. So it was good to kind of get an idea as to, okay, well, we'll be careful for that. And I think just understanding that how much of the characters were allowed to just kind of morph into their own. So that was awesome to see as well.
Yeah, and I think what's really interesting is we've gone on vacations like to like different countries and going to resorts, and it's always interesting when you think about that. Like, yeah, like you really kind of just get shuttled in right to the resort, and you don't think about that. So that really is a great, I think, premise to tell a story in a film. So I think
it's very relatable.
Well. Yeah, it's very, very relatable. And yeah, Brandon's just such an interesting person. You could just tell that this has been something that he's been wanting to work on for a long time. If you've seen his filmography, there's some really wild movies in it. So please go check it out. I know he didn't want to plug his own movies when we asked him for suggestions for movies to watch after Infinity Pool, but yeah, go check out his other films, and of course check out the filmography of his father, David Cronenberg. There's some incredible movies that you are definitely required to watch, so definitely do that. Thank you again to our friends at Elevation Pictures for making this interview happen and for inviting us to the screening of this film. Of course, it is out now in theaters. If you want to check out Infinity Pool, go see it on a big screen. Let's talk about it. I think like Knock at the Cabin, it's one of those movies that like you really want to, after watching it, debrief and just kind of talk about what you just went through and experienced.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. So it's definitely one of those. And of course, as always, you can catch a brand new episode of the Movie Podcast every single Monday. Look out for our Last of Us after show on Sunday nights at 10 p.m. You don't want to miss that. And check out all of the other incredible reviews and interviews that we have going on right now. We're doing some amazing giveaways on social media, so make sure you're following us on Instagram and Twitter at the Movie Podcast. You can win tickets for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania if you want to see the Canadian premiere of that. So definitely go enter that right now.
And Pamela as well.
Which just wrapping up.
Just wrapped up.
Just wrapping
up.
You
missed it. Actually.
So you missed it. You could have met Pamela Anderson.
You could have met her, man.
But you missed out.
It's your fault.
We're talking to
How
you
dare
right
you?
now. You missed out on this. But we'll have lots more giveaways coming your way. So make sure you stay tuned for all of that and more. That was This Time with the Movie Podcast, and we'll see you next.